Have you ever looked at a business and just wondered, how do they do it? How do they seem to thrive almost effortlessly while so many others are just struggling? Well, I can tell you right now, it's not luck. The real difference, almost every time, is that they have a roadmap, a game plan. And today, we're going to build that roadmap together, piece by piece.
So really, what is that secret sauce? Is it just having an amazing product? Or maybe a super charismatic founder? And yeah, those things totally help, don't get me wrong. But the real long-term advantage, that comes from something way more deliberate. It's a process that any business, big or small, can actually follow.
And that's exactly what a marketing strategy and plan is. It's your blueprint for success. It's the foundation that makes sure you're not just, making a product. It makes sure you're creating, communicating, and delivering real value to your customers in a way that's profitable and can last.
Okay, so our whole journey starts with this one single core idea: customer value. Look, in the world we live in today, which is so competitive, the company that wins is the one that offers superior value, period. It's all about deeply understanding and then satisfying what your customers actually need and want.
Now, this whole process, it kind of flips the old way of thinking on its head. Most people think business is just make something, then go sell it. But the really smart companies, they start their work long before a product even exists. It all begins with step one, choosing the value. This is the homework phase, where you do your segmentation, targeting, and positioning. It's only after that homework is done that you move on to actually providing and then communicating that value.
And that last part of the homework, positioning, is just absolutely crucial. Think of it like a battle for real estate inside your customer's mind. You want to own one specific, valuable spot in their brain. So quick question, when you think car safety, what's the first brand that pops into your head? For most of us, it's Volvo. And that, my friends, is no accident. That's the result of decades of deliberate, laser-focused positioning.
So how does a company actually create all this value? Well, it's by mastering a whole series of connected activities. This right here is Michael Porter's famous value chain. The primary activities are the stuff the customer sees. Making the thing, shipping it out, marketing it. But behind the scenes, you've got these support activities like tech and HR that are just as vital. A company wins when it makes every single link in this chain stronger and more efficient than its competition. That's how it delivers superior value at the end. And when you really excel at certain parts of that value chain, you develop what we call core competencies. Now, these aren't just things you're kind of good at. They're unique, powerful strengths that are really, really hard for anyone else to copy. Take Nike, for instance. A lot of people don't realize they don't actually manufacture most of their shoes. Their real magic, their core competency, is their world-class shoe design and that incredible merchandising.
Okay, so we get the big ideas around value. But how do we actually put all this into motion? How do we turn it into a real game plan? Well, that's where strategic planning comes in. It's the whole process of matching what your company's good at with the opportunities that are always popping up in the market.
That's a great question, because this isn't something that just happens in one big boardroom meeting. In any decent-sized company, planning happens at a bunch of different levels, and each one kind of feeds into the next. Think of it like a waterfall or a cascade. At the very top, you've got the corporate level setting the big, overarching mission for the entire company. That vision then flows down to the different divisions, then to the business units, and finally all the way down to a single product. And right there, at the product level, that's where we find the marketing plan. It's the key document that directs all the marketing for that one specific brand or product. Now, at the heart of all this planning, especially at that business unit level, is a tool you've probably heard of, the SWOT analysis. This thing is basically your reality check. It forces you to get brutally honest about your internal strengths and weaknesses, and then to look outward at the opportunities and threats you're facing. It's an absolutely essential first move. Once you've done that SWOT, you can start to figure out your strategy, your path forward. And Michael Porter gives us a few big picture options here. You could go for cost leadership, think of a budget airline, and just be the cheapest option out there. Or you could go for differentiation, offering something so unique and superior that people are happy to pay more for it, like a luxury car. All right, now we get to the real payoff for all this thinking and analyzing. The marketing plan. This is the actual written document, the blueprint we've been talking about, that lays out everything you figured out and details exactly how you're going to hit your goals. And a good marketing plan always has a clear structure. It starts with an executive summary. That's the 30-second version for your boss. Then comes the situation analysis, which is where you prove you did your homework. That's where your SWOT analysis goes.
The marketing strategy is the real heart of it all. It lays out your mission and your game plan. Of course, you need financial projections to show this is all going to make money. And finally, you have controls. This part's so important, it's how you'll measure success and make sure you're staying on track.
Okay, theory is one thing, right? But let's make this feel a little more real. I want to tell you a quick story about how these tools can totally change the game for a small business. A story about a little coffee shop called The Daily Grind.
So this is Sarah. She poured her heart and soul into her little local coffee shop. But one day, a huge, flashy coffee chain opened up right across the street, and she just felt that pit in her stomach, you know? Her regulars started disappearing. She's thinking, how can my little shop possibly compete with that?
But instead of panicking, Sarah sat down and did a SWOT analysis. She saw her strengths, her super loyal customers, and her unique artisanal coffee. Her weaknesses? Not a lot of seating and no drive-through. But the opportunity was that growing demand for local, personal service. And the threat, well, that was pretty obvious. That big, well-funded competitor. Just seeing it on paper like this was a total wake-up call for her.
Sarah realized her old mission, which was basically sell good coffee, just wasn't going to cut it anymore. So using her SWOT analysis, she came up with this new mission. See how it's not just about coffee anymore? It's about being a neighborhood hub. It's about community, about brightening a customer's day. This gave her a whole new sense of clarity and purpose.
And with that new mission as her guide, everything became clear. She stopped trying to beat the chain at their own game and leaned hard into her strengths. She launched a loyalty program for her regulars. She started hosting community events like open mic nights. She built a business that the big chain across the street simply could not copy. So, what are the big takeaways from all this? First, customer value is king. Everything starts and ends with the customer. Second, strategic planning is your guide. Use simple tools like a SWOT analysis to find your unique path. And third, the marketing plan is your blueprint. A written plan is what turns all those great ideas into actual, measurable action.
Look, just like Sarah, every single business, no matter how big or small, can use this kind of thinking to their advantage. Don't leave your success up to chance. You have the tools now. So, the question I have for you is this. What's the very first step you're going to take to start building your own business blueprint?